So, when you look at most of the Rocket League community, they all seem to progress through the ranks in similar ways. Some people focus more on mechanics, some people focus more on decision making, but over time they all end up developing the same foundational skills they need to reach the next level. One of the most common questions I get from people trying to get better is them asking what specifically they need to improve on. I often hear people ask me, hey, you got any tips on getting at a plat, diamond, champ, etc.? And although the answer varies from person to person, each rank seems to show similar trends on what specifically they improved on that brought them to the next rank. So to prove this, I analyzed a bunch of replays at every level of play from gold to grand champ and recorded data on exactly what the most common mistakes were that resulted in a team getting scored on. Then I took a look at how this data changed as you progress throughout the ranks, so you can see the exact skills that people at your rank worked on that helped get them to the next one. So without further ado, this is the information we found. First off, here's how we sorted all the information. We use this spreadsheet here to keep everything organized. I have a link in the description for it if you want to see all the data for yourself. I also should mention that all of these replays that we analyzed were 3v3, but you can still get some of the same ideas about 2v2 from this video. So we broke it up into categories of ranks and categories of reasons a team got scored on. We started off the ranks at gold because if you're silver or below, you've really just got to play the game more and learn from experience on your own. So we broke it up into gold, platinum, diamond, champion, and grand champion. As for mistakes, we broke those up into back post, double commit, overcommit, mechanical, too slow, boost over ball, not aware, and other little things. Back post mistakes are pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you should have been positioned at the far post, but instead you were either in the middle of the goal or at the front post, which ended up being the main reason why you got scored on. I'll leave a good video about it in the description by a friend of mine. He also helped me out with the statistics of this video. Double commits are also pretty clear. There were two people on the same team that went for the ball instead of one, and it led to leaving the net open or leaving the last defender in a 1v2 or 1v3. Overcommits were when the last man back pushed up too aggressively and couldn't recover in time for the save no matter how fast he got back. Mechanical is when the player was in a spot where they could have made the save or clear, but they just screwed up their mechanics or didn't touch it right. Too slow is when the defender could have gotten to the ball faster, but they just did a really slow aerial or took a bad route back or just had a really slow recovery. Boost over ball is when a player went for boost when it wasn't 100% necessary and it caused them to get scored on because of it. Not aware includes things like not moving your camera around to see where your opponents and teammates are, and also not realizing certain aspects of things that are happening right on your screen. Like you have your main focus on one player, meanwhile another player is speeding to hit the ball a different direction. Stuff like that. And finally, other little things just includes everything else, like getting demoed, the other team putting on a bunch of pressure, or a collection of tiny mistakes that make a big difference. Alright, now that we've defined all the categories, let's see what each rank struggled with the most. In the spreadsheet linked in the description, the red boxes are the most common causes for a team getting scored on, and the green boxes are the least common. First off, here's the results for gold. Overwhelmingly, the most controllable cause for a team getting scored on was from overcommits. Watching the gameplay, it really looked like it was just a free-for-all. Most players didn't even really care about where their teammates were, or at least they didn't even act like it. Everyone wanted to be on offense. Occasionally, we'd see a team that actually had position players for some reason, like they had one guy sitting back in net the whole time while his teammates were scoring. Although overcommits are really common in gold, I still don't recommend this strategy because it's not going to work for long once you actually need to rely on rotating. The main issue about overcommits that I saw in gold was that players don't recognize a dangerous situation when they see one. But that just comes with time. To fix this, I recommend going over your replays. If in a game you find yourself caught off guard by the power someone generated from a hit or by someone storming in that you didn't notice, go back and watch where that player was positioned from your perspective the whole time. This will train you to be less tunnel visioned and be more aware of multiple things that are going on at a time. The other really important thing to fix for golds is mechanical mistakes. Lots of the time, it seemed like players were there to make the save, they just missed. Simple as that. You've got to just spend the time playing the game, doing free play, training packs, all the normal stuff that will help you get those controls and movements down to muscle memory. If you're gold, chances are you need to power slide more. That'll help you get out of awkward situations anywhere on the field. Those are the main points that I found when observing gold rank. Now, let's talk about which of those skills improved that helped those players get up to platinum. So by far, the main difference from gold to plat is the overcommits. It went from 34% down to just 10%. That's a big difference. These players learned to be aware of where their teammates were and they acted on it. If a player sees both his teammates upfield, at gold, that player may just push up with them. At platinum, that player would stay back until it was mostly safe. This idea of being aware of teammates also caused less double commits because they learned that it's better to have one player go than two. So ranking up from gold to platinum is actually really simple. You've just got to pay attention to where your teammates are and act accordingly. Simple as that. Now, here are the main issues I saw with platinum. The main thing I noticed was that there were tons of people that got punished for not defending from the back post. In fact, a whopping 27% of the goals that were scored were a result of someone not going back post. That's a huge amount. If your team simply learns to defend from the far post, you can prevent over a quarter of your goals from being scored on you. Now, you can see that the percentage went up from gold to platinum for back post. When a percentage goes up like that, it doesn't mean the players got worse at that aspect, it just means they got punished more often for it and it became more prevalent. The next thing I noticed about plats is how often they went for boost over ball. In gold, they didn't really have as much of a need for boost because they couldn't do high aerials and the overall game speed wasn't very fast. Now that boost is becoming more essential, the players go for it way more often than they should. I saw 5 separate occasions out of 10 games where a player left net wide open to grab some boost, and they ended up getting punished for it. The thing is, you don't usually need any more than 12 boosts to make a save. So if you're out of boost but it's risky to go all the way to the corner and back, just grab a mini pad and head to the back post. Chances are you're going to be just fine. The last thing about the plats was that their basic mechanics were still a huge cause for a lot of their goals. 29% of their goals could have been prevented by just getting those basic mechanics down. You see, because of this fact, when players reach plat, they notice how bad their mechanics are and really start to grind them out. However, there's a common misconception between what mechanics actually are. When a player around plat and diamond range says, "My mechanics are really good," what they're actually imagining is something along the lines of this. But when a GC says their mechanics are really good, they're often imagining something like this. Like, sure, you're plat and you can pull off a triple aerial musty flick stall reset, but can you consistently hit a fast aerial with good power and placement? Probably not. So when I say you need to work on your mechanics, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about this. Make sense? Okay, good. Next up, here's how those plats ranked up to diamond. On the topic of mechanics, like I said, it's about this time where players really start to grind them out. And you can really tell because it went from 29% all the way down to just 13%. This is definitely the biggest change between diamond and platinum. These players finally start to get those basic mechanics down and they get scored on for that reason less often. Also, some players learn to defend far post, but it's still a pretty big issue and not everyone knows you're supposed to defend that way yet. Also, the general game speed just really increases. People start learning how to half flip, recover faster, and overall be more consistent. So the main way people rank up from platinum to diamond is by working on those mechanics. You've got to learn how to half lift, aerial faster and more consistent, hit the ball with more power, and learn to rotate back post. So diamond was a pretty interesting rank to analyze. At this point, you can really tell it's becoming more dependent on being consistent all around. The highest percentage in any category was 18% in back post and too slow, so it's a pretty even distribution. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to defend from the back post, and it's so easy too, you've just got to go there. But still, most people don't realize it. Anyway, moving on, game speed starts mattering more and more, so you can really tell that if you're playing too slow, going up for aerials too late, you're just going to get beat to the ball and probably get scored on. However, in result of this, some people realize they need to play faster, so they start using their brakes less often. A common misconception about this is that playing fast doesn't mean moving around fast. It means more that you're making your decisions sooner and getting to the correct spot faster. It's okay to slam on the brakes and kill your momentum when you reach the correct spot. In result of people not realizing this, we started to see more overcommits in diamond than in plat. This partially has to do with people trying to play too fast, but also has to do with them being punished for smaller mistakes. So, how do you get the champion from here? Well, the main difference in champ from diamond we saw was that they finally learned how to conserve boost and only go for it when they needed to. In diamond, 13% of the time a goal was scored, it was from boost over ball. In champ, out of all the games we reviewed, we didn't see a single time where someone got punished for going for boost. Also, the previously slower players learned that they need to stop getting beat to the ball, so they learned to play faster and keep up with the pace. Now, when I was analyzing champ gameplay, I noticed, like I said earlier, that people try to play fast but end up not using their brakes as much as they should. I started to see a hint of this in diamond, but it really came out in champ gameplay. People start getting too aggressive again and get punished for things as little as pointing their car upfield instead of back towards their net. All of a sudden, people are double committing way more often because they're prioritizing the speed of the game rather than knowing what's going on around them. Another reason for these double commits is the fact that people really get their aerial mechanics down and they start flying higher in the air more often. Here's why this causes problems. Let's say you want to go for this ball here, but now all of a sudden you see your teammate already going for it. It's not that big of an issue because you can just turn back right away. However, for aerials, once you jump, there's almost no going back. If you see your teammate in the air once you already jump, you can't just turn back right away. You need to wait for yourself to land, which causes for slower recoveries and greater punishment for double committing. Lastly about Champ is that lots of people still don't go back post. I know, I can hear you guys typing in the comments, no one, Wayton, go back post, stupid. But I'm serious, this is like the most underrated tip in all of Rocket League. It blows my mind how often people comfortably just put all 3 players on the same side of the field and induce so much chaos. Like seriously, this is Champ level gameplay you're seeing here. Come on guys, you're better than this. I realize that people are getting better at back post here, they're just getting punished for not doing it more often, but still, this is such an easy fix. So, you've made it all the way to Champ. You've got 1 step left. Now what? What do you need to do to get to the top rank known as Grand Champion? Well, the answer is simple, but it's not easy. Tons of people who make it this far spend sometimes even 1,000 hours at Champ level before they breach through to GC. And that's because once you get there, you feel like you're pretty decent at everything. You know how rotations work, you've hit your fair share of clips, you've practiced every necessary mechanic to get to where you are now. The main difference really just comes down to being consistent. Now, I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but it's really the truth. There's no specific mechanic you need to learn that brings you up higher. You've learned all the necessary ones already, you just need to get down to mastering them. That's what separates Champ players from GC. And you can really see that consistency with the little things matter because 23% of the goals resulted from just a tiny mistake or two as compared to 2% at Champ level. The only thing specific that really improves from Champ to GC is the overcommits. Previously, overcommits happened at Champ level because they didn't realize that playing fast had to do more with making decisions sooner rather than moving around the field faster. So once they learned that, the overcommits went down drastically. So overall, to get from Champ to GC, you really just need to get consistent and learn the proper way of playing fast. Or, you can just learn to go back post, like, come on, it's not that hard, what are you, stupid? Nah, for real guys, thank you so much for all the support. Things are just absolutely exploding lately, and it's all because of you, so I really appreciate it. Seriously, when I posted my last video, I had like 3,000 subscribers, which was already insane at the time, but like 3 days later, we jumped straight up to 10K, which is just crazy. Now, at the time of me recording this, we're at like 11,000, but who knows where I'm gonna be by the time this gets uploaded. So everyone, I appreciate all the support you're giving me so much. You have no idea how much it means to me. Take care, and I will see you later. Thanks!